Are we connected enough? Even with all the advancements in land, sea, and air transportation today, are we ever connected enough? I served in the Navy for nearly 20 years, often in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by nothing but water and disconnected from society. I remember several incidents where we had to evacuate casualties at sea. It was very agonizing to wait for a medevac helicopter to pick up the casualties and bring them ashore for treatment. Today, seagoers are much more connected, thanks to satellite communication and the internet. But physical disconnection has remained the most glaring gap. We are better connected virtually, but today's systems are far from reaching the endpoint, particularly in physical connections. This gap in connectivity exists not just in the maritime sector, but also within the aviation industry. For instance, search and rescue teams always have a hard time trying to reach individuals in mountainous areas or reach survivors in the aftermath of an earthquake. In these cases, time is of the essence, yet traditional aircraft are limited in reaching those locations. This limitation has become even more evident through the COVID-19 period, as medical deliveries such as test kits and medication have been increasingly delivered by drones over the past 2 years. Other areas that advanced air mobility, or AAM, can augment include intra-city transport, surveillance, and inspections, just to name a few. Hence, developing the AM industry is the next step in mankind's connectivity journey to transform our current notions of mobility by looking to the untapped low-altitude airspace. So, what does AAM look like? If you are a fan of sci-fi movies, it may look a little like that, but just a lot less chaotic. If you never heard it before, AAM is a budding concept of air transportation for cargo and passenger transport through the use of unmanned aerial vehicles. In short, this looks like a package delivery network through the use of drones or taking an air taxi from Marina Bay to Jurong West. One of the defining features of AAM is the use of electric vertical takeoff and landing, also known as eVTOL aircraft. This aircraft will be mostly unmanned and autonomous in future. Globally, millions of dollars are already invested to develop this aircraft for commercial deployment. But most importantly, how will AAM impact your everyday life? Well, as Singaporeans, we are always pressed for time, right? So let's take sitting in a traffic jam as an example. As city dwellers, we've grown accustomed to wait times and sitting in our cars. Jams in Singapore are actually not that bad, but we definitely still complain. And if you're living in a city like Jakarta or Bangkok, the inconveniences can be multiplied many folds. With the eventual integration of AAM into traditional modes of transport, traffic jams can be eased and commuters can enjoy shorter travel times. Imagine being able to fly from Changi to Jurong in just 15 minutes during rush hour. With Singapore's high-rise and high-density landscape, this is the perfect launchpad for an AAM-enabled transportation network. But AAM goes far beyond just transportation. Its benefits are comprehensive and far-reaching. So I would like to share 3 key benefits of AAM. First, social benefits. Do you know that there are more than 9,000 lane kilometers of roads in Singapore, taking up 12% of our already limited land? Using eVTOL to augment land transport system can reduce the need for more roads, highways, and railways as our urban population grows. In turn, these spaces can be used for more beneficial facilities such as parks, cycling paths, and playgrounds. Just imagine the potential of reclaiming 2% of our land from road use and converting this to cycling paths and greenways. The heightened levels of connectivity will also naturally bring communities closer together. Looking beyond Singapore, It will connect countries like never before and also bring rural and urban communities closer together. Secondly, AAM will bring about many environmental benefits. The use of fully electric aircraft means that carbon emissions will be reduced. This represents a major step in a global shift towards fighting climate change, even cutting down emissions to zero with the use of renewable materials and energy. Smog and cities due to road traffic could also become a thing of the past. And noise pollution can also be reduced as technology advancements in unmanned aircraft take noise levels down with each iteration. Some UAVs operate at the same noise levels as our normal speech, a far cry from commercial airplanes and helicopters. Third and finally, economic benefits. A report by Morgan Stanley puts the global market value of AAM at $1.5 trillion by 2040, just 18 years from now. The development of the industry will therefore induce a range of economic benefits, creating thousands of jobs, enhancing productivity in multiple sectors, and even bringing in tourist dollars. On this topic, I'm actually hiring if anyone's interested. To summarize, AAM will see through the three new C's of modern living: connectivity, congestion, and climate change. If that sounds good to you, then it's important we understand how to get there. There are skeptics who doubt that eVTOL aircraft can ever fly safely, especially in the urban environment. I would get on an eVTOL aircraft test flight today, but that's just me. Many people are split on this, mostly due to safety concerns, but if you look at the history of aerospace and aviation, I dare say it is definitely possible. Over 100 years ago, our great-grandparents would probably laugh if they are told that man can fly across the oceans. But look at where we are now. Nobody even blinks an eye anymore. And we are not just talking about the safety and certification of the aircraft. What about flying in the same airspace that traditional airplanes and high-rise buildings currently occupy? Currently, aircraft trials are conducted in controlled and low-risk conditions, but AAM would require the large-scale deployment of UAVs in high-risk places in order to be viable, which poses a whole new set of challenges. How can we integrate large numbers of these unmanned aircraft in the lower altitude airspace and commercial aircraft flying at higher altitudes? These are major safety challenges that need to be overcome for the AAM industry to achieve its full potential. Developing an entire new concept and system to manage unmanned aircraft in the low altitude airspace is therefore critical. This concept is known as Unmanned Aircraft Traffic Management, or UTM for short. Just like the commercial aircraft we travel on today are monitored and directed by human controllers, the flying machines of tomorrow must rely on carefully regulated UTM systems to ensure the safety and security of users and those around them. However, even more intricate than directing air traffic, a UTM system is designed to manage fleets of unmanned aircraft performing different tasks such as delivery, air mobility, and inspection. A UTM system will provide functions such as flight approvals, scheduling, priority airspace allocation for emergency operations, and many more other functions. Because of this, it needs to be highly automated and intelligent, relying on a network of systems linked with each other to be able to manage the scale of simultaneous operations. If left completely to the human brain, this will be too complex and large an undertaking and leave room for human error. The implementation of a UTM system will also require coordination. In Singapore, this would mean government stakeholders such as CAAS, LTA, IMDA, MHA, and many others working together to establish a system of policies and regulations that address road traffic, air traffic control, network capabilities, cybersecurity, and national security. So, what is the outlook for the industry? At last month's Singapore Air Show, AAM took center stage. A roadmap of 2 years was given for Singapore to see its first commercial passenger air taxi flight. Is this doable? Yes, possibly starting with manned flights, which will eventually evolve to unmanned flights as technology matures, regulation develops, and confidence is built in our safety management systems. All the AAM players will need to come together to build system, technologies, and frameworks that will ensure safety and security for you, the user. Unlike flights to space, which will be limited to the rich and famous who can afford it, AAM is a reality that will benefit everyday citizens like you and me. But just like space flights, there are challenges that we need to and can overcome for UAVs to fly in cities to transport people and cargo. In March last year, my team at Heron Technology has already built and demonstrated the first workable UTM prototype system to manage drone traffic in Singapore. I therefore believe it's doable. If we are brave enough to work together to take the first steps in this journey right here, right now. As you step into your car or place a food delivery order for tonight's dinner, think about how that casual routine will change if you could cut those travel or wait times in half or more than half with drones in the picture. Thank you for being here, and I wish everyone a good evening.